Welcome, everyone, and thank you again for joining us on another episode of Fact, Issues, and Reality. Today, with me in the studio, we have an amazing person in the person of Mrs. Mary, I think it's
Chifende.
Sifede Angazi. So, Mrs. Mary was born on 15th August in Katana, Bukavu, South Kivu in the Democratic Republic of Congo. She was raised by a single parent, a mother, who was her inspiration and a role model. Mrs. Mary began working in the charity field at the tender age of 8, supporting the elderly and sick children in a village, Katana. In 2005, she earned a bachelor's degree in public law from the Catholic University of Bukavu in the Democratic Republic of Congo. In 2016, she earned a college diploma from Charles College here in Windsor, Ontario. And she earned a Bachelor of Social Work from the University of Windsor. In 2014, she was assigned a position as a navigator at the College Bureau, where she encourages and inspires new immigrants to dream big and plan for their social economic integration by setting short and long term goals, writing these goals down, and making them happen. As a college professor and researcher in the social work program at the College Bureau in Windsor, she has dedicated her life to working with vulnerable populations in non-profit agencies at the international, national, and local levels. Married to Dr. Albert Mihigo and a mother of 8 children. Today, Ms. Mary encourages young people, especially newly immigrated women and girls, to work towards their dreams in Canada by focusing the three accelerations of social economic integration, which is the Canadian language, Canadian education, and Canadian work experience. A life examples teaches us to follow our dreams no matter what the situation. Again, I'm going to say welcome so much to today's episode. We're so glad that you were able to join us. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
So,
you.
like I said, on this show, what we try to do is to expose the Black people that immigrated, and how they're trying to settle, and also how they're trying to break into the social, the economic, and the workspace in Canada. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and
I'm
thank you
glad.
so much for having to come and share your story.
Thank
So
you.
I want to know, how was growing up like for you?
Growing up, like I said, I grew up in a single family home with a mother, and we were so many kids in growing up. And I grew up in a village called Katana, and everybody was like helping each other. We had a very loving and kind people around us growing
Oh,
up, and we could help each other easily. And this inspired me more because whenever my mom cooked food, everyone in the village will come and eat. No matter if you are not there, then you won't regret. She's always say, when you are not there, then you don't deserve food. So if
oh,
you are
okay.
not there, the food is done, it
It's
is
done.
done. Then
Oh,
you go to the neighbor to
mm-hmm,
eat.
mm-hmm.
So, and if the neighbor doesn't have food, then
That's
yeah, that's
it.
it. So
Oh.
it wasn't like, because these are my children, I will feed them. No,
Mhm.
everybody who came in was eating, and she always brought all the food outside, and we all children in the community will come and eat together. We play together and do all sorts of
Oh,
things
wow.
together. So that's
Oh.
how I grew up,
Oh, great. That
and I
must have been
loved that
so
so
much
much.
fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah.
Wow. So where did you grow up? In Katu? What did you call that place?
Katana.
Katana. That's a
Yes,
small village
that is in Bukavu town,
which is in
in
Democratic.
Democratic Republic of Congo.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, wow. And
Mhm.
your mom was the only one that had to take care. How many were you at that time?
My mom had 4 children,
Okay.
her biological children,
Okay.
but my dad was a polygamous.
Oh,
When he
okay.
died, he left more than 50 children,
Oh,
and
wow.
25 of them were living with us. So we were 28 in the house. So, yes,
You were 28?
we were
How did your
28.
mom do that?
She always based on her crops. She was, yeah, she
Mm,
was a
a
farmer,
farmer.
and she really based all what she did on her crops. And she made sure all of us went to school. We all graduated. Some who were able to finish university really did, and it was just her financing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All
Yeah.
this from the agricultural product
Yes.
on her farm. Oh,
Yes,
wow.
on her farm.
That must have been a very strong
Yes,
woman.
she was
Wow.
very strong. She said, I never got a chance to go to school because she always tell us her mom had a baby like after her. She was the only one elder in the house and she had to take care
Oh,
of her
of
younger
all the
brother.
younger ones.
So at that time, women in Congo were not going to school. And whenever there is a duty calling in the family,
Mhm.
the girls will be called to do that duty. And that's how
Oh,
she missed going to
going to
school.
school.
And for her, she encourages us, like women say, go to school. You have to gain your university. Like everything she was dreaming of for us was get a university degree or get a PhD, or because she learned.
Wow.
Yeah, because her husband was a lawyer, but she never went to school. Every time they had discussion, she was lost, and she's like, I don't want my daughters to go through what I went through.
Wow.
I want you to be educated. When you marry educated men, then you will be a complementary, but not like
A liability.
a liability.
Wow. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you did mention that the women in Congo didn't used to go to school.
Yes.
Why? Was it like a law?
It wasn't a law, but it was at that time they were saying women's education ends in the kitchen. So
Oh.
every parent who has male and female would send first the male to school and leave the female.
Wow, but your mom didn't do that.
Yeah, but my mom didn't do it. She was a victim of it.
Yes.
And she said
Yes.
none of her children will go through that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so good to know. So I'm going to ask you, when did you relocate to Canada?
In 2013.
In 2013. And
Yeah.
what was the motive behind that?
Coming to Canada, really, it was in 2005 when I finished because I was a human rights defender in Congo.
Oh, wow.
And through that, I was working with Amnesty. Then I flew to Uganda because of some of the things I was publishing about corruption and also women abuse in my area. So I had problem with with the politicians. So I had to flee.
Oh, wow.
I went to Uganda and as a refugee. So reaching Uganda, I didn't sit down. I started my advocacy stuff again with Amnesty in Uganda. And now I opened an organization with my husband, Pedro Promotion of Education and Defense of Refugee Rights in Uganda. Because we saw there was so many lapse in the refugee system in Uganda. So refugees were not allowed, like refugee women especially, they didn't get refugee status at that time. They had to rely on the husband's status. So anytime the husband is no longer interested in the marriage, the women will be non-status and they won't have the ratio.
Statusless.
Yes.
Wow.
So, and that's how I came up with an idea with my husband supporting me. We formed this organization to defend their rights. And thank God, through the research together with Amnesty International and International Rescue Committee, after our research, we end up convincing the government of Uganda to grant refugee status to women too. Like every person who is 18 and older should be granted a refugee status by their own and to stand by their own.
And that's in Uganda.
And that's in Uganda. That's my first my first great achievement of my dream, because I was seeing these women being left out and it hurted me so much. So that was the first thing I did.
Great. And so you had said it was you and your husband.
Yeah.
So that means that you fled the Republic of Congo with your husband?
With my husband.
And you had children at that time?
No, was newly married.
You were newly married.
Yeah, our firstborn was born in Uganda.
In Uganda. Oh, so you were living in Uganda as a refugee?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were able to set that up as a refugee as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because my work has transferred me from Congo to Uganda.
Great.
So yes, I was a refugee, but I was working with the Amnesty International. Yeah, and at that time my husband was working with the Malteser International.
Oh, okay.
And for him, he was just based in Uganda, and that's one of the reasons why I ran to Uganda. But if you've seen the map, Uganda and Bukavu is really far. The nearest country I could have gone to was Rwanda and Burundi, but I didn't because my husband was already in
In
Uganda
Uganda.
working. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So from Uganda, that was how you came to Canada.
And that's how I came to Canada. Then I got in trouble again.
Oh, in Uganda.
In Uganda. I got in
Oh,
trouble in Uganda, and that's how uh, I was brought up here.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So the trouble pushed you to Canada
Yes, the
here.
trouble pushed me here.
That's good. That's good. I mean, so how has it been for you in Canada here?
Okay. The first thing when before I got in, I came to Canada. I was working with International Rescue Committee
Okay.
as a program developer, and it was a very good position. So
That's in Uganda?
that's Uganda.
Okay.
So I just got my full-time permanent position. It was in February. Then in May, my visa came out. I had to
Oh.
come here. So I had to decide, should I stay in Uganda and being insecure or go to Canada and raise my
Mm,
children?
mm,
That time I had 5 children.
mm.
So I decided, I and my husband, my family, well, we all decided to come. When I reached here, I got into a culture shock.
Mm.
And I was used on sitting in the office, partners coming, we talk about programs, we empower people to go out
Yes.
there and deliver
Mm-hmm.
the services.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I came, it was a little bit challenge because I was pregnant. I
Mm-hmm.
had my baby here. And after that, I said, nope, I'm not used to this saying of staying home.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look for something to do. Then a lady told me about West of Windsor,
Okay.
West, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went to West and I met wonderful ladies. I told them my stories. They said, oh, we have a program to empower, and maybe after this program, you will have, they were calling it, I don't remember, lead or something like that. Then we did this program. I had an opportunity to do Microsoft, all the program of Microsoft and have a
Okay.
certificate
Mm-hmm.
from there. Then they placed me at one of the school, French school, where I was
Oh, okay.
teaching French
Okay.
because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
French speaker.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So after teaching French, then I came to, we were in the same building. That school was for adult. We were in the same building with College Boreal. That's how I met College Boreal. Started, oh, this is a French setting.
Mm-hmm.
So I was so much interested in that. I
Yes.
went in there and said, oh, hi, my name is Mary. I started selling myself, of course, because they have taught that in where we
Yes.
were.
Yes.
Because
Mm-hmm.
back home where I come, you can't talk about yourself,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And this time I had to talk about
Mm-hmm.
myself, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh my God. So I said, and they said, oh, yeah, we have a position of an interpreter. I said, oh, I get it.
A position as a what?
An interpreter.
Interpreter.
Yeah,
Okay.
somebody who can
Yes,
go
you can interpret
with
with French and in
French and
English.
English
Yes.
and also Swahili because I
Oh,
speak
okay.
so
Yeah.
many
Oh,
languages.
great. Great. Great.
And they said, but you have to go with the clients in
To court.
to court. You
Mm.
have to go with them into to hospitals, visit family doctors,
Anywhere they
and
needed the
any
interpreter.
yes.
Okay.
Then I'm like, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
How many hours? It was 15 hours
Oh, wow.
a week, and I'll say, okay, 15 hours. I had my baby who was in daycare, and I'm like, okay, sounds good. But how will I do all of this you are telling me in 15 hours a week? He said, yeah, we can schedule 6 hours until. I'm like, okay, deal. So I started to work. And it was so much challenging.
Oh,
It was during winter. Had to
yes.
go. Sometimes the bus will leave us here, and we have to walk so long distance. And with the client, I want to leave them. And sometimes the doctor's appointments take
So
so
long.
long, like
Yes.
2 hours, three
Mm.
hours. Remember, I have only 15 hours,
Yes.
and I was like, oh my God, I end up working larger
Hours.
hours,
Mm.
but those hours I was extra were not paid. So, but I have to,
Oh.
yeah,
Because you can't leave the client
I
there,
can't just
right?
leave the client.
Wow.
and I enjoy doing it because I really am so passionate helping others,
Mm-hmm.
and it boosts me so much. Sometimes I will be on the way and I will start just randomly crying, and I said it was my culture shock going,
Mm.
and sometimes I blamed everything about me, about the city even. Oh, this city is small, and there is no job opportunities. We are trying, and then after I said, "Oof, Mary, you need to calm down,
Calm down.
calm down.
Yes.
Yes, you have the language. That's good.
Mm.
Yeah, you have worked. You have experience. You are now working as an interpreter. That's so good. But then I sat down. I said, I need Canadian education.
Mm.
I need Canadian education. I went to Trials College. And by the way, I did not know if Trials was a private, and I didn't know the difference between private
Private
college and
and
community college.
yes, yes.
I went to Trials College, I did community service, and it was a healing part for me.
Mm.
Because at community services, we had classes, like counseling classes and so on. They were just healing me first before I can even heal
Yes,
others,
yes,
because
yes.
I had so much culture
Mm.
shock. And remember, I was a boss where I come from.
And
Now I'm
coming here.
here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
now an interpreter. I don't even
Mm.
have an office. I
Mm.
come, stand up, wait for the client to be ready, and pick.
Oh wow, that's a
Yeah,
big change.
it was a very big
Mm.
shift. But
Mm.
I said, okay. I remember my mom was always saying, any jobs that can bring food on your table is a job, and is a
Yes.
good job. It has to be respected,
Mm-hmm.
and do it with all your heart. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't do this, then nothing big will come. At that
Yes.
time, I always called her when things were bad. I, Mom,
Oh.
do you know what? I'm on my way going with my client. I'm in a bus. Like all the buses in Windsor City, I know them because of that job. So
Wow.
1 year later, my contract ended, and they said, "Oh, there is no way to."
To fund you.
Yeah, no, they just closed that program.
Mm.
And then I said, okay, this is a good time for me to go to school. I want to try it. So I did the community service. After the community service, I wanted more of that. That's how I went to the University of
Of
Windsor
Windsor.
and
Mm.
did the social work program. And while I was doing it, I was working because College Royal called me back, said, Mary, we still need you here.
Wow.
Maybe
Wow.
if you work
Wow.
no longer as
An
an
interpreter.
interpreter, but as a settlement worker. I'm like,
Mm. Yay,
God,
that's what you
yeah, that's
want.
what I wanted. But again, I was in school working 24 hours a
Mm-hmm.
week and in school full time and a mother of six. That wasn't easy,
Yes.
but I had a dream. I had a dream to develop myself, work on my skills first before I can start
Impact even
blaming.
others.
Yeah, and
Mm.
before I can start blaming the system.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you come,
Yes.
you have really a
Mm-hmm.
good
Mm-hmm.
background,
Mm-hmm.
and you sit down there. They don't know you. You need that Canadian education just for you to stand a chance, right? And I had these children who are young who needed me, and I had my work because I couldn't quit the job. I wanted the financial support
Yeah.
from it, and again the experience. I wanted to stay there to keep my
Mm-hmm.
Canadian
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Then upon my graduation, the same day I did my last exam, that's the same day College Royal offered me a full-time
A
job.
job. Wow.
So,
Wow.
but before
Wow.
that, I was doing small contract. Like I
Mm.
was in research, I was in teaching, and so on. But still, when you don't have a full-time job
Yes.
permanent,
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
really
Yeah, because you
secure.
don't even know when it's going to end. They can turn it
Yeah,
over today. Yes.
today, and
Yes. No
there
guarantee.
is no guarantee.
Yes. Yes.
Then
Yes.
I said, okay. I was so happy, and I was so glad that I got it. But I always say, and yes, the system is there. As newcomer,
Mm-hmm.
it will be every country has their own system.
Mm.
Every city they have their own way. But the only way you can overcome is to work first on yourself.
Yes, yes.
Then you
Build
can
yourself.
present yourself to this
Mm.
to the opportunities,
Yes,
right?
yes,
You
yes.
build your own skills.
You're very, very correct. So I'm going to ask, would you say that going back to school gave you an opportunity? Because I know you did said going to Trio College actually healed you,
Yes.
but going back further, like to the University of Windsor, I think did it give you that feeling of, boldness and be able to say, I can now stand and speak and do things that, I wouldn't have normally done before?
Oh, of course.
Mm.
It did, because like I said, when I finished school on my last day of the exam, I was gonna take a full-time job.
Full-time job.
Why?
Wow.
Because throughout my studies, I was growing. I could see myself
Mm.
growing. Not only the way I speak, the way I think, the way I handle stuff, and also understand the Canadian culture,
Wow. Wow.
professional way.
Mm.
And this built me not only to inspire others,
Mm-hmm.
and also when I talk of things, I'm not just telling a story. I'm talking about me. This
Yourself.
happened to
Yes.
me,
Yes.
and you see who I am
Yes.
today. It's because I
Wow.
took this decision. Yeah.
Wow. Well, so how was school like? The whole journey of school?
Okay, that one was very good. The thing I like about the University of Windsor and the professor I met on my
Mm-hmm.
way, they were understanding.
Oh,
I'm a
great.
very stubborn person.
Good, you let it out there.
Yes, I am a very stubborn person, and I don't keep quiet when things goes wrong. I'm
Mm.
always that person that say, look in your blind spots. So what happened? Sometimes I was I was late as a mother and a
Yes.
student and a worker. And I really thank you so much. I thank everyone I met on my way, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know how I was reacting, right?
Oh.
It was so I was so busy. I was a busy, busy, busy person at that moment. But it was I'm grateful I did it,
Yes.
and I passed.
Mm.
The thing is, the professor were understanding. I remember one day, I'm so good in statistics, like very good from back home. When you do, it. When you do
Mm-hmm.
low back home,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
statistics is a big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here, when I came, I said, okay, I did statistics in French. Now this is English, right?
English. Mm-hmm.
I will reason in French and speak in English, right? I will reason in French and write in English. And I said, okay, one day I had a group of students who were studying together. I taught them, there is this particular chapter they didn't understand. I taught them that chapter, and then we had a test. In the test, everybody I taught, they had like 80 and above.
Wow.
But look at me, I was 44%. And that's the
Wow.
first
Mm.
exam I failed since my childhood.
Mm.
I went to the professor board and I said, hey, how did I?
Come about 44%.
44%. Everybody I taught, they got 80 and above. Then he looked at me and said, Mary, what do you know about it? I'm like, sir, I can explain all the questions.
Mm-hmm.
What and plan? I said question one, question two, question three, until
Sorry.
the end. Then he looked at me and said, whoa, I didn't know. It is um, those people who support the professors. I don't know how they call it again. They are the one who did the correction, not
Oh,
me.
okay.
But now that you are telling me, I
Sorry.
want to write this down. All your exam, I will be the one correcting them.
Okay.
Then I said, yes, sir, I want that. So if you see anything that is not good, just call. Let's talk about it. These things I have done it so much. Like, he looked at me and said, you are so bold. I'm like, yeah, I
Yes.
know what I'm saying.
Mm.
So from that
Mm.
day on, I didn't have any problem with the statistics. And I ended that class with 85.
All right, that's good. That's so interesting. So now I'm going to take it that you're going back to school. Your baby steps of just taking bit by bit jobs around actually gave you a breakthrough to
Yeah.
like a major job in Windsor. That's
Yes.
very good. So I'm
Mhm.
going to ask you, have you at any time felt any form of discrimination, say at work, in gatherings, even when you were in school?
Everywhere.
Wow.
Yes, but I won't let it pull me down.
Hmm.
The only thing I put in my head that if anyone is stupid enough to discriminate me, then they didn't try me. They don't
Hmm.
know me.
Wow.
And I will give
Wow.
them a chance to know me.
Hmm.
I won't let any discriminative
Wow.
behavior out there
Mm-hmm.
bring me down, because everyone I see who is discriminating, for sure I qualify them like they are down,
Yes. Yes.
because they
Wow.
know I'm above them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they
Mm-hmm.
want to put me down, and I'm not going to buy their
Come down to
business.
them. Yes.
No,
Wow.
they're them and I'm me.
Wow.
I
Wow.
have seen this even in classes. I remember one day I was in one of the class, and this person came and said, "Oh, since I was in a group setting. We're
Mm-hmm.
working on a project. I don't want to say which school was this.
Mm-hmm.
And during the work, they did like we had an activity of how you can form an organization.
Okay.
And I'm like, I've done this so much. I told them, so I will do the project and everything. They said, no, Mary, you can't do this. I'm like, oh, okay. I want to talk to the teacher. I said, I suggest this. They didn't want me to do it, but I'm going to, anyways. I want to learn how the Canadian way do.
Yes.
I will do mine and bring it to
To
you.
you.
Yes, I will work with them. I will do any assignments they give me in the group, because I don't want to break the group dynamics and I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to show off, but I know this.
Yes.
Then the teacher said, oh, Mary, I give you the opportunity to do that. Then I went. I did my own project apart on how they do non-profit organizations, how to form board members, how to request for letters,
Mm-hmm.
reference letters,
Mm-hmm.
and how to collaborate with other agencies in order to see if what you are doing, you are not doing a duplication and so on.
Yes.
And what's missing in the city. I did all of that. I did my own budget. I gave it to the teacher. Then they told me, Mary, you are sent to write a reference letter from so and so organization. I'm like, okay, I will do that. As a group, I did my job.
Yes.
Then as Mary, I
I
did
did
my
yours
own
as
too.
well.
Then I
Mm-hmm.
gave to the teacher. Guess what? When
Mm-hmm.
the result came, the one I did, I got 95.
Oh
The one the
wow.
group did, they got 75. And I
Wow.
looked at them, I'm like, okay, then the teacher had an opportunity to teach us.
Mm.
Said, come on. So Mary did when you had the group discussion, you did not agree with what Mary was saying. And
Mm-hmm.
then she approached me, she told me, and she said I should give her an opportunity for
To
her
do
to do
us.
her
Yeah.
own. So if you see she had great mark than you, it's because I gave her the opportunity. The only thing I said, I want there, and I always tell this to youth and any immigrant out there, any black person out there, if they discriminate you and you buy their business, it's in your own. But
Mm.
when they discriminate you, don't buy their business. Decide to be you, a
To be
great person that
you.
you were,
Wow. Wow.
and let them dwell in whatever they are dwelling in.
What they believe in.
They believe in.
Mm.
If it means, if not buying, it means you walking away, do it.
Mm. Mm.
If not buying their business, it means you talking back to them, do it.
Wow.
Don't let
Wow.
anybody stop you
Stop
from
you.
being who you were.
Wow, wow, that's very, very good. Wow,
Yeah.
that's very good. I'm going to ask you this last question because you've already touched on one that I wanted to ask you. So I'm going to ask you, what would you advise, like newcomers, immigrants, women, young girls trying to come into, especially the city of Windsor, to settle in?
The first thing I will encourage them, because when we come, we don't have, some of us, we have different barriers.
Hmm.
Some of us have barriers of language, others have barriers of education,
Education. Hmm.
others have barriers of family, because when you find yourself to be mother of so many children, and you are like, I can't go because I'm taking care of
Care
the
of my
children.
children.
Hey,
Maybe no support.
I,
Hmm.
I want to support my children. Oh, yes. The only way you can support them if you can support yourself
First.
first, because you are the main here, right? My own is to tell them, follow the three steps. Like I was telling you,
Hmm.
there are accelerators to socioeconomic integration. The first one is language. If you don't speak English, go for it. Speak English. If you have English and you want to be on here, go and learn French.
Fresh.
because this country is a bilingual country.
Yes.
Go and take French class. You never know what it will bring at
On
your
the table.
table.
Yes.
Secondly, do volunteer work,
Hmm.
because there is no way they will know your skills if you did not perform them.
Yes.
Nobody, even if you say, you come and say, I have, you start saying, oh, I was a director, so and so, I did this and that project, or I had a business, a blooming business. Nobody knows. It's not written on your front head. The only way you will show it is if you can stand in a volunteer position and still act the way you did and still produce something. That's when they will say, oh, she has skills, oh, he has skills.
Yes.
They should give him opportunity, right?
Yes.
So that's the work experience. Look for that work experience. It doesn't mean it has to be a paid job.
Yes.
It can be a volunteer, or just grab any job. Don't start, respect your baby steps. Don't think that when you were there, because you were there, you want to start there. It will come gradually, but you have to start from scratch,
Yes.
from somewhere.
Yes. Yes.
If you have the opportunity and you are lucky enough to start from above, why not? Go for it. But if not, start with baby steps and you will reach your goal. Thirdly, educate yourself. Go to school in Canada. It doesn't matter which level you take. It can be college, it can be university, but just go to school.
Wow. Wow.
Those are the three things I can recommend people when they come here. And for women who think that because I have family, I can't study, look at me. I have 8 children. I went to school. I got my degree and my diploma, and today I'm working, right?
Sorry.
And remember, our children look up to us.
Yes.
The way you stay home, it doesn't matter when, if they go to school, they will end up also staying home. Sorry. So go out, study. Don't let children or family where you don't train your children and yourself, so you all grow up together.
Yes.
Because if they grow and you are not growing, it doesn't help the family to grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. That was very good. And the point of the children is very important. I know a lot of people do come here and say, oh, I can't because of the children. I can't. But the children are actually looking up to you.
Yes.
Right? So they're seeing what you're doing. So if you keep can't doing these things, it will get to a point where they themselves will be like, I can't. Because, right? But when you're showing them examples of how you have to strive, how you're struggling, you will be their hero, just like your mom.
Yeah.
Just like your mom. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. I'm sure today I have enjoyed myself, and I'm sure you guys too have, with our special guest today. I'm just going to read something that, she had sent, and I think it's a logo that she goes on with, which is, says, a dream is only a dream if it's not written down, but if it's written down, it becomes a goal, and it is broken down into pieces. It becomes a plan. And if it is followed by actions, it becomes a reality. Guys, this is all, we keep saying every day on the show when we have special guests. You're migrating, you're integrating, you're trying to settle. Take your baby steps. Always find pleasure in the very little things you do. Find joy in the journey. Find joy. It's not going to be automatic. There's always going to be the culture shock. There's always going to be pull down here and there. There's always going to be barriers. But I've been able to take, at least from the 3 social plans that she put down, if we can follow through education, volunteer your life, groom yourself, train yourself. I hope someone somewhere has learned a thing or two. And I would just always encourage you guys to get your facts, understand the issues, and focus on the reality. Till we meet again next time, I want to say thank you for watching and bye-bye for now.
Thank you.